years old.
That's heavy.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that.
No, it's all good, man. And the funny thing is that I've learned to overcome it, and I've had a much I'm much more empowered to be myself now.
Well, I admire that.
Oh no, it's cool, dude. Let me tell you, it took a long time.
I'm begging anybody out there, before you go and get surgery, before you walk into these hair clubs to someplace, I'm telling you right now, I am $20,000 in the hole, and 10 years of stress, the last 3, an absolutely horrifying existence of stress and pain. And I can promise you, the stress of this hairpiece is 1,000 times more than I would have ever felt if I had just been confident with who I am, dealt with the fact that these are the cards I've been dealt, and deal with them, and just shave my head. And honestly, like Spencer said, not everyone's there, but that's where I'm at.
Oh, absolutely. There's a very zen quality about this show. You have like how some people listen to the sounds of the seashore, other people listen to the Weather Channel. There's a very zen quality about this show.
And now something completely different.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside.
I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hair loss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality.
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
Hey guys, welcome to the broadcast. 888-659-3727 is the toll-free number. Almost joked there. Welcome to our Friday night, relatively impromptu broadcast. It's not as impromptu as it used to be because now we're trying to schedule it, except Joe forgot about it. And
sure, blame it on me.
No, it's okay. Listen, last time it was my fault. Well, it was the fault of our equipment here at TBT Studios. And now
the time before that.
Well, listen, it's always usually the problem is the fact that this is like black magic to make this happen. I know that most people who are now used to seeing live internet broadcasting, think it's kind of a simple process. But what most people do is they set up a camera, they attach it to their laptop, and they go directly through YouTube or Facebook or wherever they do it. Facebook, really, most guys use the Facebook phone application to make this happen. This is from Los Angeles to Vancouver, back to Los Angeles. And in most cases, when we were doing the show on Tuesday nights, then it goes to New York or Detroit, and then that is then piped out everywhere.
Notice how he didn't address the time that he was responsible for the half-hour delay?
Oh, listen.
Bob and weave.
I said it was the equipment. What am I going to do? I was here. I was sitting here. I was ready. My hair was done.
No. I forgot. I was referring to the last Friday's show.
Oh, last Friday's show was not a half an hour delay. Last Friday's show was
just didn't happen.
It was a complete rain out last Friday. That's what that was. That was I should not have gone out. I learned a lesson that, you think you learn these lessons in your 20s, 30s, maybe in your 40s. You don't think you're going to learn the lesson when you're 53 years old. But I did.
Well, you don't think that there's a lesson to learn because we all, feel like we're indestructible until it happens.
Yes. Well, apparently I am, though. That's the thing. Somehow I've, I think I have my memory back. I actually think I'm better than ever. I think the finasteride brain fog is gone.
It only took 19 years.
Yeah. But, hey, man, thanks for calling. You're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, Spencer. This is Morgan from Oregon.
Morgan from Oregon. How are you, man?
Doing good. Doing well.
Good. Thank you
Morgan.
so much for calling.
This is Joe from Vancouver.
Joe, hey, what's up, man?
Just chilling, man. Chilling. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah. So I had talked to you guys a couple of times. Initially, when I had talked to you, I had gotten some brain fog from the generic finasteride.
That's right, I remember.
And So I've been taking Joe's advice, doing the kind of stepping into it, doing one a week so far. And so far, so good. I'm on week 3 of name brand Propecia, and I haven't had nearly any of the same side effects that I had as last time.
Nearly or any?
Any. I haven't had any.
Okay.
I haven't had any. Yeah.
Because if you're having something, only taking it once a week, then it'd be like, okay, please explain.
Right.
But no, that's good.
Right.
That's good.
Right. Yeah. I haven't had any. One thing I was going to ask you, I don't know if you guys have ever talked to anybody about this or anything like that. Have you guys ever seen the show Californication?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Frank Moody on there. There's a few episodes where he gets a vasectomy and he refers to as being vasectomized.
Right.
I think it's hilarious. Anyway, I've been vasectomized, and I was just wondering if you've ever talked to anybody or had anybody complain about any effects of being on Propecia or finasteride with a vasectomy. Have you guys?
That's
actually
a really
like that?
That's a really great question. I mean, the truth is, being vasectomized does not actually change your hormonal, balance. Doesn't change your production of testosterone. Doesn't change your conversion of testosterone to DHT. You're just basically snipped, and that sperm is not going where it would normally go.
Right.
That's
Yeah, that's exactly as my urologist explained it to me.
Where does it go?
Oh, dude, you have to have a drain. You know that, right? He's walking around with a sperm bag.
Yeah. No, they told me it just reabsorbs back into your system, basically.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm actually considering it myself. I've held off for such a long time, and I have somehow made it to 53 without kids.
Gotcha. I have 2 myself, so I was like, I'm done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, good for you. I mean, it's a smart move. You did what you wanted to do. You wanted to have a family. You did, and now, you could, fuck to your heart's content without worrying about it. Now, I mean, I know in some cases they say, it's reversible. It's not 100% reversible. Most people can reverse it. But I got to say, man, I mean, I admire people who do that. They know what they want. They just decide just to get that shit done. So, no, to answer your question, though, it's a great question. I have never heard, in my more than 20 years in this field, I have never heard anything about that as far as the use of finasteride on people who've been vasectomized, as you say, and any adverse effects from it. And it wouldn't make any sense that there would be.
Right.
The reason I bring that up is I'm actually going to talk to my urologist about this on Monday. I don't think it has anything to do with the Propecia that I've been taking, but I do on one side where I was snipped. First of all, what they do is they cut your vas deferens in half, and then they clamp them off with stainless steel end caps, basically.
All right, you just fucked me up, by the way. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, if they don't do that, they'll grow back.
Yeah.
They'll find each other and they'll grow back together. So that's why they do that. But on one side, I think I'm getting a little bit more scar tissue, and lately it's turned into a little bit more of a lump on one side. So I'm just going to have them go check it out. And the reason I kind of brought it up was I was surprised that I had, if there was one side effect, I did have a little bit of, testicular ache the first week that I took Propecia, the very first week. And it was just from one pill, and it seemed like every time after that, it's gotten less and less. Anyway, so I was just...
Now, do you think it's possible... Now, did it happen? Did the swelling occur around the same time?
I don't think so. I think it's been happening for a little bit. I think I've been, looking at it more since I've been taking.
Now, is it a swelling of the epididymis? Does it hurt at all?
No,
Okay.
no, it doesn't hurt. No, it doesn't hurt. And where I was getting, the testicular ache, that was actually in my testicles, not in the vas deferens area where the cut is. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I haven't noticed any pain from it, but I will call back in and tell you guys what my urologist says about Propecia and
well, I want you to call back for me. I want you to call back and tell me what your neurologist says about what happened to you, because I don't want to get fucked up.
I don't worry about it at all. I think it's just a little bit of scar tissue that's developing down there. It's probably nothing.
I just want to know if you call back, if he's going to tell you it's not quite absorbing the way it should, and that's why you're getting the lump.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got to make that. No, I highly doubt that. I really do think it's just a little bit of scar tissue, but we'll wait and see what he says. But I was just curious to hear if you guys had ever heard anybody talk about that, because it's kind of an interesting topic. I don't know. There's a lot of guys out there that have the operation done, and so far I've loved it. It's been great for me. I have no complaints about it. And what was really cool is when you go in and you get it done, if you got a good doctor, they ask you if you want a Valium. And I don't know if you guys have ever taken a Valium.
I just took one. I just took one before the show.
Yeah, right. I hadn't, but it made me feel right as rain when I was going in there. I couldn't be more pleased to be getting my nutsack cut open. I'll tell you that much.
Look, I can tell you this, and I miss those days when a 10 milligram Valium would make me feel that way, because sadly, I'm very honest about things. I love benzos, and I cannot have them around because that's Valium, Klonopin, all of those, same
Xanax.
Yeah, same type of drug.
Yeah.
I can't have them around because there's no doubt that I would become addicted to some level, because I have OCD. I do deal with post-traumatic stress disorder and a little anxiety. I could get it like that. I can get whatever. Right. I can get Klonopins, which are incredible. But the last thing I need is to be addicted to some shit.
Right.
But I will tell you, it's great stuff.
Yeah. No, but it was a really quick operation. Honestly, my wife dropped me off. She went to Starbucks to go get a cup of coffee, and I was done before she got back. It was that fast.
Yeah. How old are you?
You're in and you're out. I am 33.
Dude, that is so fucking awesome. So if you get divorced, man, no extended families, extra kids.
Yeah. Exactly.
No,
well, it can be corrected, right? You can be restored.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah.
But still, who wants to go through that?
Yeah. I actually know a friend of mine who's had it restored, and it was successful, but it's much easier to have the vasectomy than to restore it. From what I understand, the procedure is a little bit more involved. It can be restored if you want to go back to that. But at this point, I am 100% good. I'm very set.
I think the best way to do it is to like, if you're with somebody, especially if you're not married, you have it done. You don't tell them, and then if they end up pregnant, then you're just like, I got a vasectomy. I was a vasectomized. Sorry, babe.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good luck.
Yeah.
There's the fucking door.
You got what you wanted, and I got what I wanted.
Exactly.
See ya.
Yeah.
All right, dude. Listen, that's a great question. I'm glad you brought it up, because I'm sure there are plenty of people listening who may have the same question, and no one has ever asked that on this show. So let us know what your urologist says about both issues. For me personally, but about the Propecia thing. All right?
Okay.
All right, man. Thanks for the call.
Well,
Good luck.
Thanks for calling.
Yep.
Okay,
Talk to you guys later. Bye.
888-659-3727. The guys who were just on hold, who just hung up when they heard I was going to get off the phone, call back. We'll take your calls. 888-659-3727. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Hey guys, this is Jessy. I'm calling from Hermosa Beach.
Hey, Jessy.
Hey,
how are
Jessy.
you? Thanks
What's
for the
going
call.
on? Yeah, just calling in so you don't have another temper tantrum.
Yep. You know what? I appreciate that because I was just about to lose my fucking shit on you guys.
So yeah, I called in a couple weeks, or I think it was 2 weeks ago, something like that. I had a hair transplant with Dr. Dauer, 1,100 grafts. 3 weeks out at this point. Everything's going good.
No, you're not supposed to see growth yet.
That's what I was going to say. I'm like, where's the growth? No, I've lost about, I think, 75-80% of the transplanted hair so far. So the only thing is the pinkness. When do you guys usually see the pinkness go away? Like 2 months?
How wide are you?
Wide?
No, white. How pasty white are you?
White. Oh, I am ghost.
Okay. It'll take a few months. Yeah. If you got any color to your skin, like if, any sort of ability to tan, aside from, like if you're not from Iceland, then then it usually goes away in, maybe 3 to 6 weeks. But if you're a pasty white guy like me, you're looking at, it can actually last for 4 to 5 months or even longer. It just depends on, the amount of melanin that you have in your skin, the amount of color that you've got, and don't misunderstand that where it's not like completely red like it is now, or it's probably like a light pink now. It's not going to be like that for the whole time. It's a gradual decrease in intensity. So by the time it's actually gone, it's already decreased quite a bit before it even disappeared. So it's a gradual process, and another week it might look like you got the remnants of a mild sunburn, and that'll be it.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because I'm going back to work in like 2-3 weeks. So
yeah. Oh, you're fine.
I should be kind of okay.
You're fine. Yeah.
Right.
At the very least, it'll just look like got a reaction to a shampoo, remnants of a sunburn, things like that. It won't stand out.
Or like you had a hair transplant.
Or like you had a hair transplant.
I might just go with the latter and just come clean initially. I'm not good at fucking around like that. It's like,
Dude, you know what? That is the way to do it, man.
It is. The moment you do that, the weight is lifted off your shoulder. You don't have to worry about wearing a hat. You don't have to. It's like, the majority of people you're around are people at work, and once it's out of the bag at work, you'll stop caring.
And I'm in the medical field too, so we kind of, a hair transplant is like the least of our crazy things we see. So it's
First of all, it's so much. It's just completely socially accepted now, especially if people have questions and they think if they use terms like plugs, whatever it is, just say, look, check out my head. There's no plugs there. Things have come, well, beyond what people used to think that they were, and now. I guess this is the good part about Facebook and the good part about social media. You see hair transplants in the mainstream media and in social media so often now that no one's going to think twice.
Yeah, for sure.
And
you know what?
Go ahead.
A lot of the I work with a lot of women. I'm a nurse, and I work with a lot of women nurses, and a lot of the nurses actually, some of the nurses I've seen have had the eyebrow transplant. I don't know the exact name for it, but they get the hair onto their eyebrows.
It's called an eyebrow transplant.
That would be eyebrow transplant. Yes.
That's it. I think that's the technical term. Yeah. But no, dude, listen. People are going to be like, "That's fucking great." I'm telling you, the guys that are afraid, the guys that are trying to hide it from their coworkers or their wives, that's the craziest shit. When I get people ask me if they can hide it from their wife, I'm like,
yeah, that's insane.
And some people try to, like they'll, schedule business conferences or meetings, or they'll just be like, it's some a Motel 6.
And how do you even hide that? That's like a month's worth of more than that, before the effects are completely gone.
I can't even imagine it's possible.
You talking about eyebrows?
No. Hair transplant.
Oh yeah, in general. Yeah. People just deal with it. It's probably one of the most common questions I've ever gotten as a consultant is, how do I hide my hair transplant? And some guys will take a month off from work
we were just discussing how some guys actually have contacted me, and they may have contacted you as well.
Okay.
They want to hide from their wife. That's their plan. That's their master plan.
I've seen that happen. I've actually seen that happen where a guy, I forgot the case. Actually, I know 2 cases where that happened. One guy was wearing a wig. The whole, he was, his wife was used to him wearing a wig, so he had the procedure, wore the wig, and then slowly transitioned out of it. And she doesn't pay much attention to him. She never noticed. But the second one was the guy he had left for a business trip that was supposed to be like 2 weeks long. He went home and just told her that he shaved his head, and which he did for the surgery. Just shaved his head, and she had no clue.
And this is from an old boating accident.
Exactly. Yeah. and I have a hard time healing.
Right. So that's why
for 20 years.
And so I still have staples in my head. You never noticed it with the hair. Yeah.
I think the best way to do it is just to be confident and own it. And I mean, that shows more than.
Look, I've had that's what I do when I pull my pants down for the first time in front of a chick. I mean, that's how you have to live your life, man.
Just get in front of it.
You just got to own it. You just got to be like, look, I'm a grower, not a shower, whatever, and have fun with whatever it is. You're doing something to help yourself.
Like, look, I'm hung like a baby. You like babies, right? Huh? Everyone loves babies.
But no, really, you're doing something to help yourself, and the guys should not feel ashamed of this. And I think this is a great call, and the fact that you're like, fuck it, I'm just going to tell the world.
Well, you think about women whenever they get something. It's like when they get their boobs done. I remember, 20 years ago, I was with a friend of mine, and we were walking through the mall, and some woman that he knows walks up and hug. Hey, how you been? Oh, I got my boobs done. Here, feel.
Yeah.
What? It's like they don't care.
Sure.
So why should we?
That's why I
walk up to people and say, "Here, check my hair."
I hang out at the plastic surgeon's office here. A few of them here in Beverly Hills, and I get that all the time. And that's the only reason I'm there. I don't want to make money from them. I just want to get that question asked to me. Right over your head, Joe.
Sorry, I was distracted by.
I just got my boobs done. Here, feel. Like, all right, I'll give it a shot. Well, listen.
You didn't have your boobs done. Those aren't my boobs.
Yeah.
I think the finasteride's kicking in a little too hard with the gyno.
Oh,
yeah.
Jesus.
Hey, real quick, caller, our token black guy in the chat room, Bacatero Lion, wants to know if you're on Propecia.
I am. I'm taking 2.5 milligrams daily.
And so does FRAD. Why is this a big question? Yeah, 2.5 every day?
Every day, and I actually just switched, thanks to Spencer. I switched to this stupid brand name, which cost me like a ridiculous amount of money. But I haven't really noticed.
I didn't tell you to switch.
I know you didn't tell me to switch.
Yeah.
Every time on the show, I hear somebody like, "Oh yeah, I switched to the brand name and I'm seeing better." So eventually, I just switched and I bit the bullet. So.
Well, I would never have done that, but good luck. No, I'm just kidding, dude. You're going to be. It does cost a little bit. This guy's nuts. It's going to cost a little bit of money, but so it's like it's one night of drinking. Big deal.
Oh no, totally. Yeah, it's not that bad. So I mean, man, if I see better results, then it's worth it for sure.
Well, listen,
unless you're Spencer and it's a week of drinking.
That is very mean, and that is now over. I've gotten past that.
I had to get in the gym
because of my recent fall. Anyway, listen, dude. I wish you the best of luck. And before we take some more calls, let me ask you one quick question. How is the follow-up, the aftercare? How is Dr. Dauer's office treating you?
Oh, they're great. So I think it was the first. What was it? I think it was 4 or 5 days in. I was seeing some blood clots that I haven't really seen on any of the other post-op pictures. So I just sent an email over to Bobby over there at Dr. Dauer's office, and she immediately messaged me back. She said, "Oh, you can come in and we'll clean it up for you." So I went in there. Actually, I think it was day 5 or day 6 or something like that, and they cleaned everything up and got it looking nice. And then I went in on day 7 or 8 or something like that for a follow-up with Dr. Dauer himself. So all the communication's been great, and all the aftercare's been, ideal.
Well, that's good to hear. It's really important. And, there are doctors out there, even some of the great ones, who just don't have that type of infrastructure for whatever reason. So I want those who are listening to hear this, because that matters. That helps in a patient's recovery. All right, dude,
Definitely.
listen. Go ahead.
No, and it's especially because so many people are talking about doing the turkey thing, and it's all over YouTube, it's all over social media, and it's like, you have a question like I had, you email the doctor, and I'm 20 minutes away. I go in real quick, they look at me, and then I leave. You can't do that, really in Turkey. You can't. Skype is one thing, but it can only go so far.
To be fair, you also can't do it if your doctor's across the country either, in New York.
That's
with you being in Hermosa Beach. So
this is how I feel about it. And Joe, and guys, hold on. We'll take your calls. Thanks for calling. 888-659-3727. I have always been a fan of somehow trying to figure out a way to stay local. Now, I also understand why someone would travel across the country to have such an important procedure performed, especially if they feel more comfortable going to a specific clinic. That totally makes sense. A lot of these doctors depend on these people who are traveling from different states or even different countries. Mm-hmm. On a personal level, for me personally, if I had the choice to stay local, I would stay local. There are just so many implications to not being local and so many possible issues that you can deal with. Now, if, you're a doctor who is, say, in New York is willing to say, hey, call up a local doctor here, another IAHRS member, for instance, and say, I just had this patient, he's in your hometown, would you mind doing the follow-up? And if they can kind of work that out in the price or whatever it is, or somehow make it easier for people who travel to actually have good follow-up care.
That's one of the things I work with, some of the clinics that I deal with on their protocols for following up the patients, especially the ones that aren't local. Some clinics that, like you said earlier, that's their bread and butter are the travel patients, the ones from outside their city, the province or state, or even out of the country. I've worked for clinics like that, and it really has to be proactive. Like it really has to be completely 100% proactive to make sure that the patients are looked after. And even then, local support is still far better.
Definitely, yeah, I agree.
Well, listen, I'm glad you found somebody local who's good, and you're in good hands. Thanks so much for the call. And, keep us abreast of what happens. I do think I've seen guys who've dealt with the redness where it kind of eventually, even with really white guys, it almost just kind of looks like, I don't know, it kind of blends. It almost looks like it's maybe you're slightly sunburned, and it is summertime now.
Yeah, that's the point I'm at now. Is like it's almost like a tiny little sunburn up on the sky. And I didn't have, he didn't come down too far. It was only 1,100 grafts.
Right.
So it's not that noticeable. But
what you could always do is you can cover your head and sit in the sun for a while.
Isn't that like the last thing you want to do?
Match the color. Well, no, if you cover your head completely, I'm talking about really
cover your head.
Cover your head. Yeah.
For people that haven't done this yet, I would actually recommend or have recommended and still recommend that they go get a bunch of sun before they go to get a procedure. If you can tan it all,
what about,
build it up.
What about a spray tan? Would that be not indicated for this?
It can't. First of all, you don't want to get any. Well, I mean, at this point, I don't think it would matter, but it is chemical, and you're breathing that shit in. I'm not a huge spray tan fan. Listen, I'm in the sun all the fucking time. I was. I mean, either playing basketball or hanging out by the pool or whatever it is. It's Southern California. I usually have somewhat of a tan just from walking around. But even here, because everyone is so fucking afraid of the sun, and that's why there's such a issue with vitamin D, and I think more skin cancers, but that's just my opinion. I'm not a big fan of the chemicals that you're breathing in from those self-tanning like mists. Maybe if you wanted to put something, from a bottle on your face, but then there's a chance, depending on your skin tone, if you're really white, you're probably going to turn a little orange.
Yeah, I'm like a Ed Sheeran ginger, so I've had spray tans before because how do
they work? How do they work for you?
Oh, they're amazing.
Really?
It's absolutely incredible.
Well, then really just hold your fucking breath, man. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure, definitely, yeah. But honestly, I think they're safer than for me at least, because when I go out in the sun, I get burnt. It doesn't matter. There's no in between for me. It's either I get burnt or I'm pale ghost white. So that's why spray tans are great. So every once in a while, if I'm going to an event or something like that, I'll get a spray tan a couple days before, and it looks like I've been out in the sun for a week. So,
well, I'm
the same way.
Then it takes I've just known people, at least here, you see it here in LA all the time. They're walking around, they are yellow, they are orange.
Oh, for sure.
They look like they have jaundice. You have to have a certain type of, your body has to take to it, and you're one of the lucky ones. So then, that wouldn't be such a bad idea.
The moment they come out with some sort of safe and reliable ingestible that helps you to create melanin, I'm all over it.
Yeah, they were supposed to do that over a decade ago. And
yeah, I know. I remember reading about it. I used to follow that, and there are injectables that you can take.
Yeah.
Bodybuilders take, and I've spoken to some bodybuilders that do use that. But I'm kind of the same way as the caller, where I can go out in the sun, but I'll put it like this. In the past, when I've paid for suntan, sunbed sessions, it was a waste of money because I can only go in for like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Then I have to get out, or else I get a burn, and it can, it completely negates.
I'm actually very naturally, I haven't seen myself without some sort of a tan in over 15, 20 years, but I'm naturally pretty pale, I guess, but I've always been able to get really dark.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, but listen, dude, good luck. It seems like everything is right on track. Don't worry about the redness. It'll fade a little bit, probably by the time you get back to work. And the fact that you're coming clean right away, it solves all those fucking issues.
It really does.
And that anxiety.
Alrighty. Thanks, guys, so much. I'll follow up. Appreciate what you guys are doing.
Thank you so much, man.
Thanks for calling.
Care.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
888-659-3727. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Spencer and Joe?
Yes.
Yes.
This is Sasha from Northern New Jersey. Hello, guys.
Sasha, how are you, man?
Hey, Sasha.
Good. Hey, look, I'm calling you to basically kiss your ass a little bit and possibly dispel with a couple of things.
Yeah.
Leave my ass out of it. You can ask questions.
No, Joe likes an ass kissing. I can tell.
All right. I'm 38, and my hair loss started around 16. However, I was fortunate enough that it's been a very, very glacial process. Around the age of 30, I started thinning.
By the way, that's a really eloquent way to express the slow process. That's a great word. I gotta hand it to you. I'm gonna steal that.
Thank you, Spencer. Thank you. And I got to 30, and I had a age-appropriate temporal recession, and then from certain angles, it looks like I have a full head of hair. So, but because I'm a vain person, that circle in the back that started developing at the age of 30 started bothering me. So fast forward 8 years, and I'm starting to get ready to pull the trigger here. So I started doing the research, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's telling me the same thing. And then I run into the greatest thing. I run into Joe's channel, and Joe said the most amazing thing.
Second greatest.
Do not get a hair transplant.
Yeah.
And I was blown away because every other clown on YouTube either says, and this falls into two categories: shave your head. Not that there's anything wrong with that. And the other ones are just do it. They're not even if you're a candidate or anything like that. No, just do it.
Right.
Just do it. So when I saw Joe, I'm like, I got to find out more about this guy. So the more I find out, then I run into you, Spencer, and I've been listening to you guys for a while. And I got to tell you, what you guys do for me, you guys saved my life, because when I comb my hair back, it looks like I have a full head of hair. but because I know my own head, it is thinner. So I would have gone to a surgeon, and they would have been like, "Oh yeah, you need a hair transplant." Sure, you need one. You need one. Of course, you need one. You lost hair. You know,
Apparently
you can always have more hair. Well, yeah, basically. And, you know, I didn't like the attitude of what I was hearing. It was all kind of like what Spencer talks about. Like, you're talking to salesmen. You know, you're not talking to a doctor per se. And even if you are talking to a doctor, you still got to be careful.
Dude, you walk in that door, you are a fucking vulnerable sale. That is it. Now, some guys are less vulnerable than others. But that is exactly how these motherfuckers see you. And I don't care. I don't care who
like
you're
I had
talking
a dollar
to.
sign on top of my head.
Yeah,
you did.
You did.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, I'm sorry, Spencer. I cut you off. Go ahead.
I totally forgot what I was going to say. Propitia's really kicked in over the years.
And all right, well, okay, I'll talk about that a little bit.
Yeah,
I've been taking that. And I'm going to tell you something, no side effects.
That's great, man. That's great.
But what I see on social media, being that that's what we're talking about, I see a lot of people wanting to condemn everybody for taking it.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
And speak for yourself. First of all, I don't know what your situation was before you were taking that pill. You know, I don't know if you were a superstar in the sack or not. I can only speak for myself.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
everything's great. Everything's great.
And that is that is a very eloquent way to put it as well, because that is the truth. Speak for yourself. It's one thing to want to kind of commit yourself, if you really feel that you have been harmed by something, to commit yourself to educating people about your experience. That is fine. I accept that, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
I'm talking about guys who have had bad experiences, who are going out there and either starting websites or telling people about their bad experience. That's fine. But when it comes to these maniacs, in my view, who are out there condemning everybody for talking about their positive experiences and essentially saying that either you're a shill, whether it's Joe or me or poor Andrew Zarian, who's not even in the industry, you know, or whatever, because we talk about how this drug has changed and, you know, really our lives for the better so far.
Right.
Everyone has their own experience. We should all be allowed to speak our mind without condemning other people.
And the thing is, like, they have every right to talk about how it's affected them.
Yes.
But we don't have the right to talk about how it's affected us.
No. Absolutely.
Polar opposites. We're the shills.
It reminds me of politics, actually, but don't want to get into that. Yeah.
Well, that takes me to my next point. Nobody wants to hear the truth. And this goes to all you men out there. I've been talking to men about hair loss since it started happening to me since I was 16. Because I'm a vain guy, so I've always been worried about it. Even every single woman that I date, and I forgive my arrogance, Spencer and Joe, to this day, I get a lot of women.
Right.
And
I'm sorry, I can't forgive you on that.
Me too. And I just can't take advantage of them.
Well, here's what I want to say to all men. To all men who think that women prefer bald guys, stop thinking that. Because every woman that I've dated, whether they want to talk about it or not, whether they're in the mood or not, we're fucking talking about it. Because I want to know where they stand.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. I want to know where they're coming from. I'm doing this for them, for a lot of reasons. For me too.
Yeah.
But it's also for them.
And they thank you for it. But let's be fair about this. Those are women that just happen to prefer guys with hair. There are women out there, potentially,
of course,
that think that baldness is beautiful, and they prefer that. They prefer the shaved, buff looking guys. And so I understand what you're saying, and I completely get it, but I don't think it's a fair statement, because you don't know what all women want. You know what women want that like you.
They themselves have told me it's not everything. But don't be fooled thinking that it's not important at all, I guess is my real statement. I know I'm generalizing. I know I'm painting with a broad brush. But every single woman, for the most part, is the same exact answer. Now, obviously, these are the women that, like Joe said, have preferred me in the first place.
Well,
he's absolutely right about that.
I would say that if we were able to do this test and we had twins who had, including not just their, identical twins as far as the way they look, made the same money, had the same mannerisms, did the exact same thing, and they were sitting at a bar. One was bald and one wasn't. Both good-looking guys.
Right.
I would say, even the bald guy carried it off well. I would say that at least 8 out of 10, if not more, 9 out of 10 women, if they had to make a choice, they would choose the guy with a full head of hair. Now, if the guy with the full head of hair wasn't sitting there next to the good-looking guy who shaved his head, they would still probably go for the good-looking guy who shaved his head. But if they had that choice, they're going to go with the guy with the hair. That is human nature.
But if the guy with the full head of hair opened his mouth and turned out to be a prick.
No, but that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if all things are equal, personality, looks, money, just genetic, complete genetically, identical twins, but everything. I'm talking about they're wearing the same outfit.
Right.
They're going to pick the guy with the hair. That sounds extreme, but that's reality.
See,
now,
I look at Billy Zane when you think about that. I look at Billy Zane, and I think that when he started shaving his head and he didn't get rotund, I thought he looked better bald than he did with hair. I thought he looked outstanding. He looked fucking sharp.
Well, I was
like, that was a good move.
He has a uniquely, perfectly proportioned face.
The guy is
skin,
beautiful.
Eyebrows, like they're unfucking believable. Like if I ever make the choice to shave my head, the first thing I would do is use some of my donor to really get those crazy thick, like Andrew Zarian eyebrows. Just that would be what would frame my face. People don't think about that.
Your face and that of 3 others around you.
Yeah, but that's what I would say. You know what? Let me use 300 or 400 hairs. Actually, to get Zarian eyebrows, I probably need 2,000 grafts. But and utilize that for my eyebrows to frame my face so that I'm prepared to shave my head, because I just have fine, light eyebrows. I mean, they're there, and they're not necessarily deficient, but they're not big, bushy, like super, model eyebrows like Zarian has.
Sensible.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, but I know what you're talking about, dude. I agree with you, but I also know that there are plenty of women who, like Joe said, it's not like they are making a concession. They just happen to have found.
No, he's right.
They've just happened to have found a bald guy attractive. But would they, that same guy, if he all of a sudden grew a full head of hair, would they be upset about it? Probably not.
No, especially when they like going to their girlfriend, or look at my boyfriend's hair.
Right.
And don't think they don't do that.
Oh, no.
They do that.
Yeah, some of them do, yeah, for sure.
Your girlfriends know more about you than you know about you.
That's what I'm trying to convey.
Yeah. They know about every fucking freckle you have in your ass. They know the size of your dick. They know when you go out to meet your friends' girlfriends.
Oh, they already got the whole picture on you. They already know everything.
Just know they know everything. Like your nickname could be Minuteman. You don't even fucking know.
You don't even fucking know it.
Yeah. Women are the worst.
But you know what's crazy, guys? It's with men, too, because I work for a Fortune 500 company. And I'm going to tell you, it doesn't matter what you've accomplished. It doesn't matter what kind of a person you are. When you're not in the room, you are the fucking bald guy. I'm letting you know right now. And Spencer was speaking about this not long ago, that being bald is the last bastion of political correctness. He couldn't be more right.
That's the common descriptive for when people are trying to point you out in absentia. It's like, who are you talking about? Oh, the bald guy. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely. I get it. I'm the guy with the can of hairspray and the comb over. That's me. That's when I walk out of the room.
There you go.
How do you think it makes me feel?
Anyway. And you have hair.
Yeah.
And you have hair.
Absolutely. Well,
and, and one last thing I want to say to you guys, and this is obviously to all the men too, that as somebody who's been speaking about this to everyone basically my whole life, because I'm not shy about it, I'm going to tell all you guys out there fighting hair loss, whether you like it or not, it is a full-time job. Either get with it or get out of the way, because you got to take vitamins, you got to do the laser, you got to take minoxidil, and every guy that I run into is like, oh, it's too much. It's too much. Well, don't fucking complain about it then.
Listen, and that's great advice.
That makes sense. Yeah.
My entire life, and because I made this my career, is about hair and hair loss. I
admire you for that.
I appreciate that, but I have to say that it can be fucking exhausting, because it's like, I guess it's kind of like being, a doctor or I don't know, a plastic surgeon or something that people find really interesting, that they want to ask questions about themselves. I don't have a minute of peace. If I choose to go out and meet people and tell them what I do, I have to hold court. I have to lie and tell them I do something different.
Wow.
Otherwise, I have to be on. I can't just sit there and get drunk. Well, I mean, I still sit there and get drunk, but I have to actually speak about something that I speak about all day. I can't talk about sports. I can't talk about politics. I can't talk about what else is going on in the world. I am forced to talk about hair.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it. So it is.
I could totally see that.
Yeah.
I could totally see that.
So let me tell you, this is a full-time job. And for you civilians out there who are just trying to fight your hair loss, what you just said is absolutely right, spot on as well. If you want to fight this, there's no one and done. Whatever the industry is telling you is a lie. You can't just get a hair piece. You can't just get a hair transplant. It is a full-time job that you have to somehow compartmentalize your thought process and realize, okay, for this amount of time during my day, I have to think about my hair.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it. All right, dude. You're a great caller. I hope you call back, man.
I will, guys. You guys are fantastic. Like I said, you guys do the greatest thing, which is gift therapy, and for free. So there you go.
Absolutely. For now, no.
Right.
My plan.
Guys,
I've kept it for free for 20 years, so we're gonna make that happen.
Yes, sir.
Even through social
we'll speak
media.
Soon.
All right, man. Take care.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Phone number is 888-659-3727. Anyone else who wants to get some phone calls in, we will continue the show for a while. Sure, I don't know what your schedule is.
I'm good.
What was this guy's name again? They just called
I don't
in.
know. Guy from
Jersey.
Someone from Jersey.
Great fucking caller. Spot on, I think, with everything they said, including, listen, he's dealing with women who like guys with hair, but including the reality. This is reality. All right? It's not to say, I hate sounding like a bunch of fucking whiners about our hair, but who else is going to do what we do? We give people a platform so that it's okay to talk about something that really fucks you up. Why does it have to be something that we aren't allowed to speak about? Because it's not cancer or it's not traumatic brain injury that I almost had. That it's not some other form of disease. This is a disease of the spirit. And if anyone who doesn't get that, the only people who don't get that are those who have not dealt with hair loss. Even the guys who have been able to come to terms with it early, the guys who became head shavers early, and now that's what they, profess as, this is what you need to do. At one point, at some point in their lives, it fucked them up.
Yeah.
They just had the wherewithal and the ability, luckily, to say, you know what, fuck it. It doesn't mean that much to me, and I'm moving on.
Well, it's obvious it fucked them up because they shaved their head.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's the indicator right there.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that and the fact that, pulling the bozo just doesn't work anymore, man.
The bozo. Yeah, see, no one knows what you're talking about. Bozo the clown.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I am old.
By the way, I also wanted to go back to the beginning of the show. I meant to chime in. People that are listening, Cy Sperling used to be the guy on TV in the 70s and 80s selling wigs from Hair Club for Men, and he coined the phrase, "I'm not only the president, I'm also a client."
Right.
One of the greatest sales lines in history.
Cy was the man who actually, people don't give him enough credit. He changed the world.
He did.
He actually made hair loss into something. While, listen, I mean, there was a lot of problems with the Hair Club for many years, and there's a lot of people who didn't really know what they were selling. It was essentially a wig, whatever, a glue-on hairpiece. But he was the first guy to essentially invent the glue-on hairpiece. They didn't exist before Cy. I'm not just talking about marketing it. He actually invented it. First, he started with the weaving process, which he had done himself, and it changed his life. And then he essentially invented the bonding process. Like, hey, wouldn't this be more effective? And it completely changed the game. And what it also did was it brought hair loss into everyone's living room across the country.
And what people don't realize is that before that, the way to apply these systems to your head was either clips, or they would actually do a surgical procedure where they create tonographs, is what they referred to them. And the wig would have these hooks. And when you're done with the procedure, you would literally have these little bridges of skin tissue that were permanently detached from your scalp. So it looked like this loop. You'd have two in the front and one in the back.
It was like it was an eye and hook thing. And your eye for that hook was your skin.
And the hooks were on the bottom of the wig, and they just latch it on. Yeah, Saling's like, no fucking way. Yeah, no way.
Just to tell you, if anyone wants to just get a little history, you can pick up the original, The Bald Truth. I mean, they're still selling it, and you can probably get a used version for like $1 somewhere in like Barnes & Noble bin or someplace. But, I write all about that stuff. And the reality is, even after Cy, they were sewing in hair pieces using essentially sutures, surgical sutures. Thread.
Fishing line.
Yeah, fishing line. There were so many different insane processes that were happening. That's why I think to myself, as bad as you guys think it is now, you have no fucking clue what it was like when I started to go bald, man. It was fucked up. The problem is, things have kind of come full circle because of the internet, because of the sheer number of I call gangsters and fucking scam artists that have gotten into the industry, and just
because of FUE.
Because of FUE, which again I spoke about this on the program. I regret pushing it the way that I did, and it naively believing that people would look at it as a great ancillary procedure, like real hair transplant surgeons, as opposed to holy shit. All of a sudden all these. And I'm telling you, these guys, in my view, are some of these guys are criminals.
I think, let me just interrupt. I think that they, after the initial push and resistance was kind of leveled, when you had John Cole and Alan Feller and Rob Jones and those guys picking up the mantle in North America, and then especially John Cole fighting tooth and nail, sometimes against me, on the forums,
against everybody, against me. I introduced it to him, and he's fought against me.
But like after for the first several years of FUE, it was looked at by more people as a solid ancillary procedure because it was performed by strip surgeons at the time. It wasn't until late mid 2000s that the crooks started getting involved, when they realized, shit, we can do this for nothing.
Yeah.
And make piles of money.
Yeah.
And that's when the floodgates opened.
Yeah, it is and there's a guy in the chat who asked if I'm writing another book. Actually, what I've been thinking about, I had another The Bald Truth in the process several years ago. And I was working with a company that wanted to sell it directly on television. Joe knows the story. And ended up having to pull out of that deal. I would have been that guy on television selling the hair loss book. You would have seen me all over the place. And sometimes I think about, well, maybe it was a bad move to pull out, but I had to based on a lot of issues that I was not happy with. Upsell issues, the fact that they wanted to connect the product to it, you know, or one company wanted to connect the product to it. And I was just being pushed into something that I was uncomfortable with.
Yeah.
But yes, I will say that this is going to be a very interesting year. We are going to be providing an official consumer guide through the American Hair Loss Association. Not sure if I'm going to, you know, keep the title of the book. It's a lot of fucking work, but we're working on something right now. I'm in a very, very fortunate position where I could have my work published by, you know, top 4 publishing houses. I currently own the rights to The Bald Truth, so I don't have to go with Simon & Schuster or Pocket Books again, but there's really no reason not to. But we'll see. But yeah, I think it's good timing. I've been writing online and trying to tell people in the industry, the optics and the timing has never been better to really affect change. And getting it out there through, you know, ebooks, you know, through real publishers, of course, through Amazon, and of course we'll put it in brick and mortar houses, even though a lot of people aren't buying books anymore that way. I think we could really help a lot of people who are willing to do their due diligence. But the truth is, print is dead. It's not going to be a huge money-making proposition for me. Mm-hmm. And what's really going to get the word out there is what we're doing now, you guys spreading the word, and us getting more content on updating the American Hair Loss Association, the IAHRS, the Bald Truth, what Joe's doing with his websites. You know, I want you guys to kind of help to take the lead on getting the word out there. Joe's always saying, ring that fucking bell. Do me a favor, ring the bell. Like our video, and, you know, whatever it is. It's really up to you guys, I believe, to make what can happen quickly.
Speaking of which,
yeah,
guys, hit the like button. There's only 3 likes so far. We're an hour and a half into the show. You're not clicking the like button. What the hell's wrong with you? Show the love. Support us. We do this for free. At least hit the like button. If you're going to be in the chat room, if you're going to watch the show and call in, or not call in, just be in the chat room. Okay.
Thanks a lot. Have a good night.
Good night.
All right, there's no calls on the line. I will give out the number again. We'll take a couple of more phone calls if you call in, and then we're going to call it a night. It's 888, excuse me, 659-3727. That's 888-659-3727. Those who are watching the program in Europe, who are guys in the UK, wherever, Joe will give out the UK number.
0203-3724-683.
And let me see if I can get that on the screen real quick, just for you UK guys.
And I actually sent a message to a guy in the UK I'm dealing with. He is...
There's the UK number, by the way.
In the public eye. And I sent him a link saying, hey, we're going to be on tonight. Check out the show. If you're watching, I can't even give a hint to the name. Call in. That would be awesome. Let's see.
Well, there's the number. It's on the screen now. It's 02. I don't see it on this is
there it is. Yeah. 0203-3724-683.
Yeah. Give us a call. It is a local UK line. There'll be no toll for you guys. So, you know, feel free. 0203-3724-683. I'll leave it on there for a while. Now, that is the UK show banner. And normally you guys know that I do the UK show with Spencer Stevenson, Specs from the UK, who is also part of this whole process.
Thanks for the likes, guys. We got 12 right now. F-Rad, you're wrong. There's not 13. It means you didn't hit like yet.
I'm going to put the old number up, the regular number.
Yeah.
888-659-3727. So, look, for all of the doctors in the industry who are like, they're worrying about leads and they're worrying about this and they're worrying about all of those issues can be completely quelled if your leaders, and again, I find it interesting, there's an Indian doctor by the name of Dr. Bhatti, who is a member of the IAHRS, who definitely takes a strong stance as far as how the leadership of the hair transplant industry is not really doing things that need to be done in order to fully educate patients. And what I wrote to him online was, you don't have any leadership. Anyone who's looking to the IAHRS for leadership is looking at the wrong place. That's management. At the very best, it's middle management. These are not people who really understand how to lead. Their concern is just managing this entity, which, God almighty, man, if I was in there, what we can do would be fucking insane. The IAHRS would be huge, bigger than Dow could ever have dreamed of.
Yeah. See, now you got to explain who Dow is.
You explain it.
Dow was one of the. Dow. He did. You
don't even know who the fuck Dow is.
No, I know. I know who he is.
No,
he. I think he was part of the original IAHRS formation committee. Is that right?
He actually founded the IAHRS.
Yeah. Yeah. So the answer is yes.
Yes. Him and his father, Bluford.
Bluford.
How you pronounce it? Stow. They and some other people, Old Char Norwood, and some of the old school hair transplant guys.
Ochel Norwood.
Now, Dow was actually a younger man at the time, and he had worked with his dad for a while, and he wanted to create some standards and a real, in my view, a real educational base for what he considered to be a really serious and difficult and elegant form of cosmetic surgery. I give him all the credit in the world for doing what he did with the IAHRS. Now, he wasn't too happy with me when I founded the IAHRS.
Mm-hmm.
He thought it was too close. He didn't understand. He was just pissed off at the name itself. And I'm just like, and he wasn't too happy with the fact that, he wasn't mentioned in my book. He once voiced that on the phone with me.
Yeah.
He wasn't happy about a lot of things. I made enemies pretty quickly. My response to him early on was, look, if the IAHRS would do some policing, then I wouldn't be as successful as I am, and I wouldn't have been able to even create and be the founder of the IAHRS, because who the fuck would want to come on board? Doctors needed to differentiate themselves, and they knew that they were doing a good job, and their colleagues in the IAHRS at the time were not. And that is why we were able to do what we're doing. Think about this. Think about any business. The average, if you look up, how long a small business will last in the United States, on average, a small business will be profitable for less than a decade. That's just the way that it is.
Yeah.
It's really about 4 to 5 years. The fact that we have been around for 2 decades without any PR, without any spending money on any advertising, just telling the truth is it's unbelievable.
Well, it's self-evident. I mean, you look at the staying power that telling the truth brings, and it's like, why can't anyone else just kind of figure that out? It's like the blueprint has been here for 20 years, Well,
and they can't figure it out. I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, it's like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel here. It's already created.
I have a concussion. Keep that in mind. Go ahead.
And I'm not saying that that anyone needs to start a program, like a call-in program like this, but just stop with the, did you know your hair grows up to 0.5 millimeter a day BS. It's such a
that's the thing.
Wasted potential.
People have started shows. You know how many hair loss programs they have been since the inception of the Bald Truth? There had to be 25, maybe more.
That many.
Mike Voorhees had a show. Bill Rassman.
I know. Dr. Rassman did. I didn't know Dr. Voorhees did.
Oh my God! Saporin, the late Dr. Saporin. All these guys have tried to do what we do. I remember there's an industry rag, and I call it a rag because it's basically just a paper about the hair loss industry. It's called the National Hair Journal, and the guy's name is God. Why is it slipping my mind? Chris Webb decided to buy time on a station that the Bald Truth was airing on here in Los Angeles, KLSX, and it was their goal to kind of work against what we were doing. And what I mean by that is he claimed to be the authority in the industry, and he had Medical Hair Restoration, Bosley, the Hair Club, every major player sponsoring the show. And in this industry, those are blue chip advertisers.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I'm cool with that. I'll go up against you. It's not a problem. He couldn't succeed. He was buying time and he couldn't make it work. How is that even possible? Now, the reason it's possible is you either do it right, you're able to draw attention, you're able to draw an audience that's interested. It's about developing a rapport and a sense of healthy and honest communication with your listener, as opposed to just trying to sell shit. These guys can't do it. I am sorry. Now, there may be somebody in this world who can, but there's nobody in the industry that can, at least who's there right now. And there have been local shows across this great United States. There have been doctors, even in the IAHRS, who have attempted to start to do podcasts. It's the same fucking subject. Why can't you do it? I can't figure it out, really. I mean, I listen to it, I'm just like, okay, well, maybe it's going to take some time, and they got to get their chops. It takes a little bit of... Because in the end, you're selling something, motherfuckers.
I was just going to say, it's because they're all trying to sell something.
Right. See who this is. Hey, man, you're on the air. Who's this? Wow, what's that noise? Hello?
Hey guys.
Hey. Dude, hey, man. Dude, your phone is fucked up. You want to try to call back in a second?
Hold on one second. Let me see what's going on here.
Just hang up and call back.
Is this any better?
No, it actually sounds like this crazy static.
Okay, I'll try calling back.
Call back. Okay.
All right.
888-659-3727. Yeah, and at the end of the day, you're selling something. And that's fine. There are some really successful guys. Dave Ramsey is one of them, who created an entire empire on brokered airtime, basically selling his books and giving people financial advice. And I mean, incredible at what he does, but he's engaging. He has interesting, an interesting way of communicating. He brings people in. He makes them feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. He's not forcing what he's selling down their throat. They want to buy it.
Yeah. Well, all that comes down to the art of the sale, right? I mean, knowing how to present yourself as, an expert in the field, but not trying to really push someone into a product. If you're almost like pulling it back from them, then it makes them want it more. And that's the way all these successful people are.
Look, my publisher used to ask me, why don't you run commercials for the book on your national radio show?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't need to run fucking commercials. People listen to me. They want to buy my book. That's the way it works. How do you think I made it a bestseller for you guys? Which I did. because they didn't make it a bestseller. Thank God they published it. Simon & Schuster Pocketbooks, thank you for giving me that opportunity. But it was just floundering on the bookshelves until I got that radio show. And that changed everything.
Not to mention, it's not like you're published at the first step of bat either. Like you had to, really make sure that it was.
Well, I was rejected by 14 agents and 33 publishers.
Yeah.
I was relentless. I did not stop.
And that's the great story about that is you kept pushing, kept getting rejected, kept pushing, kept getting rejected. Simon Schuster finally said okay, and it's the most published book about hair loss in history.
Well, they rejected me at first.
And that too.
And then they said okay, because I continued.
Well, just to shut you up.
Yeah. Anyway, 888-659-3727. Hello. You're on the air. Who's this, man?
Hey, it's Jace Brand 49. Joe suggested I call in to update you on my progress.
Yeah, how are you, man? What's going on?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're
good.
Okay, man. I'm a little thirsty, but otherwise I'm doing all right.
Yeah, you've been talking for a while, huh?
Yeah. Parched.
So I want to comment on what you were just talking about the books and publishing and doing the right things, because I actually run my own sort of site where we do daily videos. It's similar to what you guys do, except it's via Google Hangouts, and we let about 25 people in. Ours is behind a paywall.
Right.
We have like about 150 people that watch every day. It's a subscription site that has to do with cryptocurrencies, primarily Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, stuff like that. But we also talk about a general stock market. And I'm amazed I thought when Bitcoin was going down, I was like, okay, we're entering a bear market. We're going to lose a lot of members. I was amazed that we didn't lose as many people as I thought, because we keep them so engaged. Half the show is about entertainment and not trying to sell anything, because we can upsell them. We have other products we upsell.
Sure.
And we don't really. We just keep it entertaining and keep people engaged. And that's really what you have to do. And you have to keep it simple. So I agree with a lot of what you're saying. And I think the minute people feel you're just trying to upsell them to something else, they're out. They're done.
Well, and I find that interesting coming from someone who does. I mean, you do what we do. Look, I've been doing this for a very long time, and when I started, it was obviously a lot different. I actually had to be on the radio.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
you're doing exactly what we're doing, so you can fully understand it. And you're right. You will not lose your audience. People want to stick around.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Yeah, they want to stick around because, if you come across as being sincere, if you're entertaining, if you kind of develop a following that feels like they are part of something, as opposed to being told what to do, as opposed to being sold something.
Exactly. Everyone wants to be part of some community.
That's right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
If they feel like you're trying to convince them of something, then you lost.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. But that's very cool.
So, that's when my nano is going to the moon. Someone just said in the chat. I can't. I'm not going to advertise my site on the phone, so I won't say anything.
You are you're welcome to advertise it if you'd like.
Well, you contribute to our channel, so go ahead.
Yeah.
It's called The Rational Investor. So if you just type it into Google, it'll come up. It's right now the .co. We're going to launch actually a brand new website in less than a month. So we've got a lot of new things coming on our end too. We've been working on a completely custom site for over a year now. I put a lot of our company's money into this site versus the current site, which I did completely on my own and maybe cost us $500.
Right.
Rational
so don't
what?
judge it too hard. Just the Rational Investor.
Oh, okay, Rational.
Don't judge the site too hard on its current appearance.
I think that's a great name, and I actually obviously you're doing well already, and I wish you the best of luck. I love these type of stories.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And,
yeah, I was actually just at CB Insights. I don't know if you know what CB Insights is, but I was just in New York for the past 2 days at a Future of FinTech conference.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot of interesting things about the future of finance and what big companies are doing, especially with relation to crypto.
Well, it's
a changing world out there.
I'm pretty fascinated by it, so I expect my my free subscription at some point. But,
I got into just a funny thing, or funny to me. I got into Bitcoin only because I was at some sort of party in downtown Vancouver, and these guys had a little kiosk for some reason. And I walked up, I'm talking to him about it, and the guy walked me through the steps of setting up my wallet. This is like 4 years ago, maybe like 4 years ago, and he transferred like 1/10 of a 1/100th of a Bitcoin to me, and it was worth like a dime. And about 6 months ago, I decided to get back in my wallet, and it was a big hassle because I forgot my passwords on and stuff. But I finally got into it, and I found out it was worth like $65. so that, of course,
hopefully you sold it.
No, $65 is like, it's not a big deal. But now it's down to $23.72 as I look at it. But I just think it's incredible how it exploded from 10 cents to $65. The percentage growth in that was just. Yeah. So, and I can see that it's dropped like 60% since its peak, give or take. So.
Yeah. And we started a portfolio with only $500. Like, I didn't even fully believe in crypto back then, and 4 years ago. I wish I'd put a ton more money in, because.
Yeah. No kidding.
We did this strategy called Little Old Lady, where we just invested a little bit of money in every little altcoin that came out. We wanted to just own everything, and we would sell half of it every time the coin went up 100%. We'd sell half of it. And now, at the peak, the portfolio was over 800,000. Right now, it's around the 300, 400,000 area. We do have a lot in cash. We pulled a lot out in January and February, but we didn't pull the whole thing out. But it's just amazing, the returns. And it's ironic, Joe, that you say Vancouver. My partner that I co-founded the site with lives in Vancouver. And our company is actually a Canadian company.
Interesting.
So small world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Wondering if it was... Yeah.
First of all, I'm really impressed, and I'm glad that you called to tell us about this, man. Because, I'm impressed that you're running your show. But I mean, the concept of it is really impressive, and there's so much shit on cryptocurrency out there that wouldn't it be wonderful for people to be able to kind of really get the skinny on the reality of it and be part of a community, which I think is fucking great.
And what the other thing you said that really resonated with me was talking about honesty and being transparent. And the whole reason I started this site with this guy was because I was tired of the bull crap out there. I mean, I think the finance industry, especially when it comes to trading, is even worse than the hair transplant industry.
It's bad.
It's horrible. Almost every site is a scam.
Yeah.
Every single one. It's absolutely terrible. And sometimes my partner gets mad at me. He's like, why don't we advertise? Why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? I'm like, I don't want to spend any money on advertising until we have a product that I 100% believe in myself. And two, a lot of people only seem to care about the numbers. Like, we made this 100% return or this. I'm like, I don't want to advertise based on that. Not at this time. I just don't, because I don't think that's a honest way to advertise. And
here's the thing.
Greedy people.
You're also obviously able to make a living. Is this your full-time work now?
Right now, I'm on leave of absence from work from my full-time job, my other job.
Right.
I could do it full-time. I really could. It makes enough money at this point. But I'm not. Both my partners, we brought on one other guy who's an expert programmer, web developer, who's doing some really incredible things with scanners and machine learning for us. Both of them are full-time. They want me to go full-time, but I haven't jumped ship yet.
Right.
Because one, I made a promise to my boss in my other job who needs me to come back for a little bit. I made a promise I'd come back in August. And two, how to explain this? I want to make sure that everything's solid with the company before I 100% take that leap.
Yeah.
Because kind of once you're out of corporate America, it's tough to get back in.
Right.
Sometimes.
Well, hey, listen, if you have the time to do your program, to be a part of running this business, and if you not being full-time doesn't take away from the growth of the business, then what's the difference?
That's what I think. So that's why I'm taking this time now, and I'm automating a lot of things that I was doing manually before. I'm setting up a lot of things so I don't have to work 100 hours a week like I was doing for almost 2 years.
All right, man. Well, we'll talk. I want you to make me some money in Bitcoin.
Yeah, you can email me. Feel free. We can talk back and forth anytime. Let me, so I did call in to update. Joe wanted an update on my progress.
Yeah.
It's going very well. For everyone that hasn't heard before, I had surgery, corrective surgery with Dr. Jerry Cooley, an FUT surgery to repair a previous surgery I had with Dr. McGrath.
Mm-hmm.
It was a transplant of about 1,800 grafts. The donor scar has healed extremely well.
Good.
I have with my previous scar, I had hypertrophy across the whole thing. I could feel it. Anywhere on my head, I could feel it because it was just kind of like this little lump. With this one, almost none so far. There's a very, very, very slight, and I just can only find it because I look for it. But it's only been 5 weeks, and it's almost gone.
Yeah.
It's crazy. This scar looks better now at a month than my old one did at 8 months. So
well,
I'm
to be fair,
ecstatic just for that.
To be fair, and I understand and appreciate your enthusiasm, but playing devil's advocate, it is early, and as a repair patient, and what I mean repair is you had a donor scar that was definitely not to your liking. It is more difficult to get the ideal result in a second surgery. So just making sure there is some caution there before you celebrate too much. I mean, it sounds great and it sounds encouraging, and I'm sure it's going to be a really nice result for you. But at this point, just being cautious. You don't know 100%. So try to keep that in mind. Don't get too excited yet.
What do you think could happen to the donor area? Because it feels healed very well. I mean, yeah, it still has healing to go, but I know based on I've had previous surgeries before, and
it takes about 7 months for the scar formation to really manifest for the long term. You can have stretch back at 3 months, and it's just because of the way it's healing. Because it's not healed the way you think it's healed. It's superficial healing right now. There's a lot of healing that's still going on deep down because of the length and the amount of tissue that's taken out. It takes time for that to manifest its final result, and you don't have it at 5 weeks. You don't have it at 3 months. It could open up a little bit as far as widening between now and say 8-9 months. So I just feel like I need to put that out there because at this point you're really happy. I don't want you to start like at 4 months go, what the fuck, because it's widened by 2 millimeters or so.
No, so I understand, and that's why I hadn't even spoken about widening. I was talking about hypertrophy formation, keloids, and I've had other surgeries, and in my experience, I could tell within 2 to 3 weeks if it was irritated enough and it was going to form some sort of keloid. And that was my biggest concern. Nobody likes feeling a lump in the back of their head, and also it's painful. Even after a year, I still had pain in my old scar. This one doesn't hurt that bad. Yes, it could still stretch. I 100% agree with you there, and I am taking necessary precautions to avoid that.
Okay, good. And did you say, and forgive me if I forgot, but did you say before that you've got indications of likelihood of keloid formations when you get cut? Did you indicate that at all?
Yes, a little bit,
Yeah, forgive me for not remembering that, but yeah, that's okay. So that makes sense why you got experience in that regard. So yeah, okay, that's good. I mean, it's encouraging, sounds great. I just like to throw that out there just to make sure that expectations are realistic. But you get that, so that's good.
No, yeah, I think the A cell that Dr. Cooley uses really helped. I didn't have that in my previous procedure, and I think that's the only thing I can point to that made a big difference. I mean, he, obviously a different surgeon, and he did a double tracheal closure, but that shouldn't have much of an impact on whether it has a keloidal formation or not.
Correct.
So I just thought I was like, okay, it seems like it's healing very well.
Well, don't let Joe bum you out. I think don't let Joe bum you out. I think you are, the fact that you are 5 weeks out now.
Yeah, a little over 5 weeks.
Yeah, I have a really good suspicion that scar is only going to get better. So.
Yeah, and Dr. Cooley even said, if I'm not super happy with it or there's some kind of gap, I can go back and he will do a free FUE to fill it in.
That's great.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
so
really great to
how's
hear.
the recipient? Did you have some electrolysis in the hairline as well?
I had a lot of electrolysis.
Yeah. Okay.
Over 200 grafts he took out.
Wow.
He just said the hairline was too low, it didn't fit my face or my head, and he just had to redo the whole thing. Because I told him it was more important to me to have high density. I don't care if my forehead's a little bit higher. I don't care if I have some temples. I think, you should have some receding in your temples. I think it looks natural.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay, just do what you think looks best and create the highest amount of density that you can. Because I think, and Joe, I think you've mentioned this many times on the program, density is far more important than how low your forehead is.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I am really glad that after your ordeal, that at least at this point, you feel like, okay, I may have gotten, I may have had to deal with this shit, but there's light at the end of the tunnel, and that's got to be a great feeling.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, the confidence alone. My girlfriend noticed it even 2 weeks after the surgery, because we could tell it looked good and the forehead looks good. Let me just to be clear, the amount of time we were spending together intimately nearly doubled.
Wow.
Just because of my confidence, and she could sense that.
So now you guys are up to once a month. That's good.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I'll give it. Oh, that's hilarious. I'll give that to you.
Yeah.
We're both below 30, so it's a bit more than that.
Yeah. Well, good.
What's that supposed to mean?
Good for you. Good for you. Good for you being so young and spry. So, well, listen.
So as far as
go ahead.
Electrolysis.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The electrolysis. Here's the downside. It doesn't seem like any of the hairs are really growing back. Oh, maybe one. I'm looking in the mirror right now. There's like one I see a little bit. It's taking a long time to heal. So that's been to be frank, a pain in the ass. I've just got like a big red half-inch line going across my entire forehead, and it's my hair isn't as thick as I would like in the front, so it's hard to cover sometimes. I mean, like I said, I was at that Future of FinTech conference, and I looked ridiculous. You could even, under bright sunlight, you could see the red line.
Right.
So I don't know how long that's going to take to heal. Dr. Cooley says by 8 weeks it should be completely healed, and I have this cream that I've been using 3 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
Are you making sure that you're staying out of the sun and stuff like that?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I always avoid the sun.
Okay.
No, I use tretinoin too cream, so I always avoid the sun.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah. So if anybody decides to get electrolysis, anybody wants to get hair removed, you can get hair removed. It is possible with electrolysis or even laser hair removal. I don't think laser hair removal is as targeted. That's why I went for the electrolysis. But it takes a very long time to heal, and at least on my skin, it was pretty intense.
Well, you had a lot taken out too. It was a lot more for your tissue to deal with. When it's not quite as much hair, it'll heal faster as well. Like the case I documented on my the playlist I have for Dr. Cooley, where like 30 grafts were from his previous procedure were taken out. Those healed in about 2 weeks. So there was a direct correlation with the amount of work that you have done in relation to how long it takes for it to heal.
Yeah, that makes sense. It was a lot of trauma. I don't have any real hair growth yet from the procedure, obviously. It's only been 5 weeks. So that's about all I have to update.
Okay.
Well, dude, listen.
How's it feeling? Is it the numbness, I should say, or the lack thereof?
In my donor area?
Donor area and the recipient.
The donor area, there's a little bit of numbness. I expect that to last for maybe another couple of weeks, but it's not bad. It's not like I can't feel it at all, and it's constantly bothering me. It's not that bad. As far as the recipient area, there's no numbness, just pain if I press on it. If I don't press on it, it's fine. But if I press on even the electrolysis area, it's a little bit slightly painful.
Okay.
All right, well, don't press on it, dude.
Yeah. Solution. Don't press on it.
I think I only pressed on it because Joe mentioned it. So like, let me press on it for the first time in 2 weeks, and I'm like, oh nope, still hurts.
Still hurts.
Yeah, he's gonna blame Joe. I get it. Yeah.
Well, listen, dude. Thanks for the call. Thanks for the update. I'm really happy that things are going your way at this point. I know what an ordeal it was for you, and let's just hope that you're going to be completely past it.
Yeah. Did you ever end up talking to Dr. McGrath, just out of curiosity? 'Cause I know you've gotten actually a lot of calls.
Yeah, I actually
from different patients.
Yeah,
that was surprising to me.
I actually ended up speaking with someone who works with Dr. McGrath at length, and I'm waiting for a phone call back from Dr. McGrath. But we spoke probably 4 times about not only your situation but a couple of other issues. So I'm not quite sure why Dr. McGrath hasn't called me back yet, but I made it very, very clear.
How has it been?
Last phone call that I had with who was 2 weeks ago.
Got it.
But I will say that I was able to get some things in motion for some people. And that's all I could say right now. But we have our eyes open, let's put it that way. And you participating and you calling in early, and I understand why you didn't want me to reach out to him initially, which I'm glad that you were able to get your refund. But I'm not thrilled that I haven't gotten the personal call back from him as opposed to someone who he's working with right now.
Right.
Yeah, that's surprising because when I was a patient and when things were going well, he would call me back pretty quickly. It's only when things started to go downhill that I stopped kind of hearing from him. Like even after he sent me the refund check, I didn't.
I have never actually experienced this before. Not only with Dr. McGrath, but with any physician. Normally, if I call an IAHRS member, or anybody actually in this industry, if a day goes by, that's a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, half the time if I pick up the phone, people are like, "What the fuck happened? Everything okay?" They're a little concerned.
Yeah.
But I made things pretty crystal clear. I got some information on another patient that called into the broadcast, and he kind of knows what's going on. So, again, I'm trying to be as diplomatic as possible, but I will say that I am not pleased with the fact that I have not had a chance to personally speak with Dr. McGrath yet, even though the person who you probably don't even know, one of the people that run his practice has been, very attentive, calling me back, calling me on his own, stuff like that. So
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just curious. I hadn't heard anything about it in the past couple shows, so thought I'd ask, see, what's going on. I appreciate you being proactive on it, though. I do really appreciate that.
Oh, listen, I'm going to be, and I'm going to continue to be, and I will get this guy on the phone, and there's a chance I'm going to see if I can get him on the show.
Yeah, that would be great.
And, maybe you guys can go at it live.
Cage match.
Ask all the
questions on the sidelines.
Ask all the questions that you wanted to ask. No, you probably had to sign something for getting your refund, right?
What's that?
Did you have to sign any type of paperwork when you got your refund?
No, they just sent it to me. That was it. It was just a check.
That's actually a very good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was
nothing. I honestly myself don't have any questions for him because I don't think there's anything he could say that either I would believe or, I can't. If he can say, "Oh, we're not sure what happened. We do the same thing every procedure. It's got to be your healing properties." Well, so I'm like, okay, so I'm waiting to see what happens with Dr. Cooley. If the same thing happens here, then I'll say, okay, yeah, it's my healing.
Right.
It's a big issue.
Right.
But I don't know that. And from everything I've seen, especially looking at my post-op photos right after the surgery and comparing the two extensively, I see a big difference in what looks to me like quality. And I've posted on multiple forums, and people have said the same. So I don't know what he could say because he said we've had extensive phone calls before, and I don't know what he could say that he hasn't already said to me. So as much as I think it would be entertaining for people to see that, I'm not even sure if I'd have any questions.
Yeah, no, I get it. I don't think it would happen, to be honest with you. Given the response that I'm getting right now, it kind of seems like, this is something they want in the past, whatever, but I have to continue to follow through, and I will. I've been kind of busy with my own shit this last couple of weeks, but like I said, I did have 4 separate conversations. I think they were fruitful. Let's hope that there are some changes that happen in the practice. There have been some, let's put it this way. Some shit has happened over the last couple of years, and there have been some changes within the infrastructure of the practice, and just something just wasn't quite right during the day of your surgery. I can tell you that. Just based on the images that I saw, the way that the hairline was placed, I have never seen that from that office before.
Yeah.
That your hairline was, in my view, it was not well thought out. It was not well executed. The design was, I was shocked. I'm just being honest. He's not going to like me saying this, but I'm just being honest. I was shocked to see what I saw.
Yeah, and the only reason I keep following through with it is because if it was just me and everybody else had amazing results, I'd let it go. I'd be like, okay, it's just me. But I've talked to other people that unfortunately are too afraid to call into the show. 2 different people I've emailed with pretty extensively or chatted with over text message.
What are they afraid of?
And I don't know. They just don't want to be public.
They're not public.
So
they're not public.
I don't even know what. First of all,
I told them.
You could say what it would. You don't have to give your name. You don't have to give a name, the date of the surgery. If you guys can verify that, if you're saying, if you can verify to Joe that this is a real patient, then I'm not going to ask any specific questions about the date of the surgery, things like that.
Yeah.
So they have the right to call in.
Yeah. There's this one. I don't know why he won't. There's this one guy. He went through 2 surgeries with him. And he thought the second one would fix everything, still have keloid formation, and he's still not happy with the result. He's actually following my procedure and how it goes with Dr. Cooley to consider a 3rd procedure now. The problem is he's out of money supposedly, so I don't know.
Is he calling it keloid or is the doctor calling it keloid? Because keloid's actually not a common issue. It's pretty rare.
He is.
It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard for anyone to create a keloid on a human being. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, okay. So there's keloid, and then there's scar hypertrophy.
Right.
What defines the exact difference between the 2?
Well, keloid is a genetically and naturally formed type of scar tissue.
Overproduction of scar tissue.
Yeah, it's an overproduction of scar tissue.
It's raised and normally stays red, right?
No, not necessarily. It can be white. It could be the color of the person's skin. A lot of Asians suffer from it, and a lot of African Americans suffer from it.
Yeah, the other guy is Asian. That I'm speaking to.
So then it's possible that it is a keloid, but that's something that even in the best hands, it can be very difficult to avoid because your body just produces more scar tissue than the average person.
Yeah. And that's something I think clinics...
In many cases, like when I've done consultations where, the doctor comes in and it's like, if there is a history of keloid, then many times it's recommended that you don't even go through a surgery because you just can't, no strip scar can be guaranteed. But if you throw the possibility of keloid formation on top of it, it's almost worth it to not have a procedure, just to forget it. Because if that does happen, then... Yeah, you think a stretch scar is bad. Wait till you get a true keloid formation. It's not good.
Yeah.
Not good.
All right, guys, listen, we are going to call it a day or a night, depending on where you are. We've been on the air for 2 hours and 30 minutes, or close to it.
Has it? Yeah, it has. Yeah.
Dude, listen, I'm glad you're doing well. I'm really excited to hear that you're actually, you're doing online broadcasting besides your business. I think that's great. It's really cool. It's kind of, besides doing this for, my living and, this is what I do, there's a hobbyist factor to it that I'm really into. So I think it's great. And you're saying that you use Google Hangouts.
Yep, because you can fit about 25 people in. People, as long as, because we're behind a paywall and we have a membership base, we can kind of control who comes in.
Right.
But it's nice it's like, okay, you got something to say, go ahead. And they just turn on their microphone and they start talking.
Now,
and they can easily share their screen.
Now, do you have
it works well for us because we're always sharing charts.
So do you have is it like a microphone setup where you're basically wearing a headset, or is it just like you in front of your screen doing like a Skype type of a situation?
It's more of a Skype type of situation, but I know, so you guys are more so talking to the audience. It's important to see your face. For me, they care about what I'm showing on charts.
Yeah.
So I'm almost never have my camera on.
Right.
I normally am just showing my screen. They care more about the chart than what my face looks like.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Well, at some point maybe I can get in there and check it out. All right, dude. Listen, I wish you the best of luck. Keep us posted, and I promise you, I will keep you posted about the situation if I do get a chance to speak to the doctor. And if I don't get a chance to speak to the doctor, then I won't be able to work with the doctor. That's just the way. That's the way that it is.
There you go.
All right, dude.
Appreciate it.
All right, you take care.
Guys, have a good night.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, buddy.
Tired. Good call. Good calls, by the way.
Good calls, yeah. Exactly.
And I'm sorry that I had to prod you guys. Hopefully in future shows that won't happen again. I ran out of disk space for this recording, Joe, but YouTube's recording it anyway.
No pressure, Joe.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Just to let you know. So
okay.
I have
Don't go making edits.
Well, you can edit whatever you want. I just have an hour and 24 minutes worth, and then my disk space, I've got to put some stuff on an external hard drive. I mean, I'm shooting this and recording this in 1080p, so the files are huge.
Got it.
All right.
Okay.
All right, guys. Joe, I'm going to let you give out the websites because I'm tired.
All right. Websites are thebaldtruth.com, where this broadcast is live streamed as well through various outlets, including iHeartRadio. iHeartRadio, Guys from Queens Network, GFQ. God, who else? I don't remember.
You can do this, man.
I don't do it. See, Guys from Queens, iHeartRadio, Stitcher Radio.
Correct.
Available through iTunes downloads.
Right. Also iTunes Radio. So anyone who actually listens to iTunes Radio, you can hear us live on iTunes Radio. Also Roku. If you have a Roku box, go to just check out Guys from Queens. When we are live, they syndicate the live broadcast. Usually both of them, but always the ones on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they're not doing Friday all the time.
If they have a show,
bastards,
then they are not going to be syndicating it on Friday. I think today they did. So
okay, good.
Yeah.
If you want to engage with some people that have had their own experiences, you can go to. We're not big fans of forums, but there is a forum, the baldtruthtalk.com. It is where there's.
Well, let me stop you there. I'm a big fan of that forum.
Well, that forum,
because it's mine. No, but we in all honesty, we I tell people to stay off the forums. Yeah. Utilize them for what they're worth. Know that everything is anonymous on a forum, unless the information is coming from Joe or someone who is well known in the industry, willing to put themselves face forward or name forward, a doctor, their representatives. You don't know where the fuck the information's coming from. So use the forums. We appreciate the traffic, but don't make a decision based on reading someone else's experience on any message forum, including ours.
That's well said.
Yes,
there's also hairlossexperiences.com, which is a great friend of the show and the things that both Spencer and I do. It's primarily a UK-based forum, but being the internet, you can get to it from anywhere, of course. They are gracious enough to allow us to stream our show through their property and their website, and we're always thankful to them for that. HairTransplantMentor.com is my website showing my journey, my history, my experience through 9 surgeries that I've been through. I don't think I've got all 9 up there, but most of them. It's also got a lot of my blog posts and, of course, the most comprehensive terms and definitions about hair loss and hair restoration on the interwebs. So if you got basic questions like what is telogen effluvium, what is the crown, you can go there and get some comprehensive explanations and descriptions of those terms.
All right, guys. Until next time. That was perfect, by the way. Thank you for your help.
Thank you.
Until next time, be strong, God bless, and thank you so much for listening. Have a great weekend.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the program, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that'd be splendid. Thank you. Good night.
I always hear a lot of guys calling in, and they're always like, down and out about their haircuts.
Sure.
I lost my hair when I was 16 to 17 years old.
That's heavy.
Oh, man, I'm sorry to hear that.
No, it's all good, man.